You're welcome to another edition of One on One. I am your host, Tolulope Dada. What are we looking at today? It's also a very deep one. We all know African Democratic Congress Party, ADC. And there has been this rumor that there are some, grievances in their party. There are factions. As a matter of fact, they were not able to meet the INEC deadline in Oyo State now for the submission of their candidates. And as nosy as I see myself as, I want to know what is hidden in that party. So we have a guest in the house today. All right, going straight. There has been, it's the norms, let me say it's the norms for politicians to go from one party to the other. And looking at you from your profile, you used to be an aspirant for House of Representatives in Labour Party. You're an aspirant in African Democratic Congress Party. Now, you left Labour Party to ADC. Is it that Labour Party is no longer a good party and ADC is the rave of the moment, or what? I want to know the reason why politicians go from one party to the other.
Thank you very much. I think that's a very good question.
Yeah.
I will just start by giving you an illustration.
Okay.
Okay. Let's look at this scenario. You are in a house, okay, where you expect justice, equity, okay, and peace. And you came to the table with all those kind of things, you're looking for a platform where things should be done the right way, okay, where everybody should be given a fair share of their deal, where we should be able to contribute, and then probably make progress together. So like I said, like a house. And all what you find out in that house is that, none of that is available. Or let me use the word, in a place where you realize that you occupy a flat, and all what you receive from that place is violent trouble. Do you want to continue staying in that house? Wisdom will tell you that if you don't want to die an early death, okay, or if you don't want to lose, you need to look for an alternative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's not really in anybody's wish, to move from one place to the other. That's what I found out. I can give you a case. I look at people that are even up there that are big politicians, you know what I'm saying? In big parties too.
Okay.
If we really want to be very logical about the whole thing, imagine occupying a seat for 3 or 4 years, and all what you got from that seat, being a member of a party, is your party taking you, either directly or indirectly, taking you to court every minute. Not giving you an opportunity to even settle down on your job, and discharge what you've gotten to offer. As a matter of fact, you get to a point, that we call that you need to rethink and redefine your relationship with such a body. So it's not really, I don't believe it's a good thing, to move. But again, when you are in that kind of situation, you won't have choice, than to take that next move. And the next move will be where you think, the kind of thing you believe in will be offered to you. So for my own, moving from Labour to ADC, let me just tell you simply, I didn't start with Labour.
Okay, you started from...
I started with PDP in 2002, okay, but I would call myself, I'm not a politician, but I'm a professional in politics. We are the kind of people that we've seen a lot of things outside there, and we are yearning for a real change. We are yearning for a real change, not the kind of wicked change, not the kind of things that we see with politicians, you know what I'm saying? We are
I want to ask the question. You said not the kind of wicked change. Which one is wicked change?
Now, changes are, it can be positive or negative.
Yes.
It depends. So maybe that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
When you say negative change, what is the purpose of governance? We are talking about good governance. That is when things, the electorate, the Nigerian people, that is when they have the dividend of democracy. When you go to market and your pay can take you home. Unlike now, when you have access to good infrastructure, when you have access to good education, access to things that not even the, according to Maslow hierarchy of needs, not even to those higher needs. We're talking about basic needs. We expect Nigerians to have good, exactly, shelter, be able to afford their food, to be able to send their children to school, have a good medical, But when that one is not there, I think that kind of change, if it cannot provide that, then we are not there yet.
So that kind of change is a wicked change.
No, the one that cannot provide that
is a wicked change.
It's a little bit negative and it's not human enough.
All right. So
and then that is not human is kind of a little bit wicked.
Okay, so you are telling us your history from PDP. After PDP, which party did you go into?
Yeah, after PDP, like I said, I'm a player in politics, and there are certain things that we expected that should be done. You know what I'm saying? When it's comes to politics, we don't believe politics should be played the way they are playing it. We thought one of the reasons why I joined PDP, if I have to tell you, I look at PDP in 2002 as the only platform that provided opportunity for everybody. You don't need to come from an history of a politician. You know what I'm saying? Unlike some other parties that when you join them, they begin to ask you whether you started with them in during the AG in 1969, want to know who your father is. You know what I'm saying? Okay. PDP is the kind of party, that provide that platform for you to come from any ground. Once you have your idea, okay, and you have people behind you, you can always emerge. And we thought then we can use that kind of platform. But again, being what it was then, we realized that people that eventually managed, okay, to get to power, or there was a little bit of mismanagement, which people like us never believed in. And we realized that the direction we thought people would go, okay, they didn't really go there. They lost focus, okay, and the main vision of the party. So at that particular point in time, where we thought there's no way we couldn't help, than for us to go back to our profession, face it, and see that.
And decide which party.
And then later I said, okay, when we are ready, okay, to really go into full politics, we will know what to do. And that is why we had to kind of, I took off my time. I left the party, okay, and then faced my job until recently, 2014, when I knew that I need to go back. Not that I need to go back like that, but I realized that even the people that we were doing it together then, most of the young guys and the people around, even the old women, they were, because of what we did while we were in PDP, because of the kind of empowerment program that we did, kind of help that we rendered, even while we were working, the kind of help that we rendered our people, for them to come, in kind of job, in kind of employment, in kind of small assistance. Some of them came to us in 2013 and said, Brother Niyi, if people like you are not going to contest, definitely all of us will not, we will not, join the politics. And the belief is that, well, if good people are not in politics, then when do we expect the next change that we're talking about? And when all these requests came, and I was like, you guys want me to come back? And I was like, okay. I think my movement to Labour Party, like I said, I came out on the Labour Party thinking that this is going to be another platform, a good platform for us, to carry out our aspiration. But if I want to go back to Labour Party then, Labour Party was made up of young, people, around 50 plus or minus.
50 is young?
Yeah, of course. 50 is young.
Ah, okay.
60, then you now begin to talk about them as being there. And that's why the retirement age is 65. So they are considered. They are considered young. But when you are 50, you are still
a young boy.
Yeah.
So are you a young boy as it is?
I am.
Yeah,
you can see. You don't need to ask me that. You are my sister now.
Yes, you are also my brother.
No, I mean elder sister.
Elder sister.
Anyway, again, looking at that composition, then we thought we should be able to come out with a formidable team, that's going to deliver this democracy, the people we're talking about, and then we thought at the end of the day we should be able to organize ourselves in such a way that, things should go smoothly, merit should be, acknowledged, and then justice and equity. But at the end of the day, we realized that, some are sincere, some are not really sincere. Okay. But unfortunately, those that are not sincere, they came back, but most of us came back, majority of the people came back from either you know, from PDP, you know, APC, you know, to form Labour Party. Whereas that some of them still came to Labour Party with that mentality. What they rejected, you know, what they rejected in in PDP and in APC are the things that they started to impose on us in Labour. And I use the word imposition. You know, of course, we all aspired, and when it came to the time like this, where you now, want your candidate to emerge, you now begin to see that we no longer allow the primaries to take the normal place according to the constitution. You know what I'm saying? Either you do direct or indirect primaries. You know, as people are saying now, we have people who are, you know, given the chance to select their choice. Some of us built this party in our own area where we thought, and we give the party image, and at the end of the day, we see this caucus coming together and, you know, started imposing, because of course they formed the party, we joined them, you know, so they had all the power and they started imposing on popular candidates, you know, and at the end of the day, the result is what it was in 2015. So when looking at that, I realize that even as young men, we have our own challenges too, because we are not ready. I mean, many of us are not really ready, you know, okay, to project what is right. But that's it's not for another day. But looking at another day. And since then, it's been, like you said, for joining to ADC, it's been like, you know, okay, what is the next one? You know, we all know other parties, you know, their reputation in town. Of course, if you have integrity, which some of us are protecting right from the beginning, you know what I'm saying? And if you have your integrity, then you know what you are doing, and you understand this thing about that politics about serving, you know, holding position of responsibility about serving your people. In fact, President Yar'Adua said servant leadership, you know, got it right. You are the servant, you know, of people. You are not there, you know, to be their boss. You need to go to and listen to your people, do what they want, and make them, and where they are not correct, have a way of telling them, probably because you have an overview of everything, or a better view of situation, there should be a way for that you communicate back to people. You know what I'm saying? And get their buy-in. You don't impose on people. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kind of things that we couldn't really that made us again to say, okay,
you had to leave Labour Party.
Of course, Labour Party died naturally.
Now, still speaking on that imposition that you were saying, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about that imposition that you just spoke about, because there has been some rumors and, you know, that we've heard about your current party, which is ADC. So we'll take a break now. We'll be right back to talk about the imposition. Back. My guest is still Mr. Adeniyi Ajani. Yes, I forgot to put Abiodun. Mr. Adeniyi Abiodun Ajani. We are talking about leaving one political party to the other, and in due course we'll talk about 2019 general elections. But he said something before we went on the break, which was imposition. Now back to you, sir. You know, we've had some certain rumors that ADC, as it were, is actually not, I mean, there are factions. Let me just use that word. There are factions. We have that of a certain Koli Osho, and we have of Alhaji Rashidi Ladoja. There are factions there, which has brought about some rancor in the party. So we want you to clarify that. Are there really factions in African Democratic Congress?
Okay, thank you. I think for ADC is a little more complex than that. When we talk about factions, I don't think that we have factions now. Okay, but there is one thing we need to understand about ADC. By His grace, I happen to be one of the people that started ADC, CNM, because ADC started from Coalition for Nigeria Movement Group, which happened to be a non-partisan, you know, it's just an organization, okay, of people like us that thought,
you know what I'm saying? People like you.
That thought, okay, that we want a better deal for Nigeria.
Okay.
That we thought we don't have a better deal for Nigeria yet. And as such, we need to have a platform for ourselves to come together, okay, and then later, go into political parties, for us to be able to deliver that better deal, and we all know Kwasi Nigeria movement was formed by, by our ex-president OBJ, exactly, and some of us, like I said, happen to be one of the major, the first set of people, that embraced in Oyo State, okay, under the leadership of our great leader, Chief Olakojo. So now, after some time, CNM adopted ADC, okay, a registered party in Nigeria, okay, after a series of search, and then assessment, we realized that ADC platform, which had no structure, would be good for us to adopt. So we adopted it for us to be able to pursue our ambition, which are called Better Deal for Nigeria. Okay. So of course, party door is open, to everybody. There is no special requirement. Moreover, there is a saying that says the more the merrier, and of course we started it. We know that we will grow, so it got to a time other people, maybe they are aggrieved or whatever from other political parties, they started coming. One of them is the group, from APC, the one that left the APC. Okay, in Oyo State. Okay. Then after that, we the PDP faction of Ladoja, His Excellency, former Excellency Governor Ladoja, with Labour Party, Chief Koliuso, they too came and joined us.
So which makes it 4 groups.
So now
under one umbrella.
4 groups, technically, but 5 groups, because I said we adopted ADC.
You adopted ADC, so
and
that is 5 groups
some
under
people,
one umbrella.
5 groups under one.
So obviously
no
there are factions.
No, okay, I don't know whether you want to call it factions anyway, but 5 groups with the same, we believe, with this common aim,
common goals
and objectives, to pursue, and thinking that, knowing fully that we are 5 groups, whatever we are doing will reflect that we are 5 groups. Maybe in what are the things that we do in politics? Probably maybe, in organizing organizing a party, you want to select, or so you want to put in place executive at the state level, local government, everything. So we believe that all these activities should reflect, those 5 groups. But I know that we had a lot of, hiccup, on that one, till the time of the time that we had to nominate candidates.
Yes, I was about to come to that, because we've known till we are speaking now. Do you have candidates, or you still have aspirants? Let me put it that way. Because we know INEC gave a deadline for candidates names to be submitted.
Yeah.
And ADC happens to be a little behind. What's going on?
I might not be able to make much comment. I won't say we don't have. We have things that we are trashing currently, issues that we are trashing currently internally in the party, because as we talk now, I know there are some cases in court. I personally too. I have a case in court.
Okay, let us in.
I might not be able to talk much about it, but I can tell you that basically because we felt that they are kind of in position.
And that's why I said.
And that is why, because it's in court, I won't want to go much into it. But the basic thing you need to understand is that, of course, in ADC, like you said, yes, we have cases in court, that we are contesting. Because we realized that lists were generated somewhere and were forwarded somewhere, okay, without necessarily recourse to the primaries, that was set, down by the constitution of the party.
In a nutshell, some set of people are imposing candidates on the party, and you had to go to court to fight against that.
Yes, because we know that currently some people were given INEC form, and then some lists were sent to INEC. So based on that, okay, we can say some people have done something somewhere without necessarily following the constitution of the party.
Okay.
And because we are aware of that and we are aware of the deadline, that was what made us quickly, some of us quickly go into. Of course, in the public domain now, you heard about the 12 governorship aspirants of ADC, and it's even the paper of I think Tribune on the 16th, where they did a press release talking about the issue of no primaries in ADC, and as such, INEC should not recognize any list, should not recognize any, and that even that all the if any list is generated for all the positions in ADC, that nobody should recognize it. So it was in the paper of Tribune 16. So it's not it's not an hidden thing.
Case.
You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, I don't want to make much comment on it because we have cases in court.
All right. Now let's go to the national level now. Let's leave the state because obviously you have case in court that you are going to be letting on it rather as time goes on. Let's go to the national level. Do you have a presidential candidate?
Yes, ADC as a party, we have the former, what do you call it, Deputy Governor of CBN. But again, as the president candidate now, I think that's what I can say.
That's what you can say. Because I was wondering if ADC is going to merge with another political party to bring forth a presidential candidate, considering the fact that you mentioned earlier that there are some change in codes. So is that in view or not?
Well, for now, because of the state issue that we are having, in terms of merging, I know there are a lot of discussion already going on. Okay, which I don't have much information on yet.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know that ADC, we either, since we have a presidential candidate, it's possible that we go like that, or maybe in the nearest, because there are a lot of discussion going on, honestly, which till now we don't really know what is going to happen here, and it's possible we team up with people. But you heard about that coalition too.
Yes.
Of multiple parties, coming together to
bring forth.
So that one is there, though there has not been anything on it yet saying, okay, these parties we are supporting this person. But each of the parties now, they all have their individual candidate now. But there might be in the nearest, maybe before election, there might be a total agreement where everybody will say, okay, no, don't worry. We are stepping down for this and that, but I know that all parties, most of the parties, they have their personal candidate.
All right, thank you very much. Now, on the last note, you're an aspirant for Federal House of Representatives by the North Federal Constituency.
Yeah.
Your case is still in court, as you said. Now, let us assume that you won the case. What are the things you have for the people of the constituency?
Okay. I think we need to understand one thing. A federal rep, is not a chairman of the local government.
Of course.
And is not the governor of the state.
Of course.
Your major responsibility is legislative, making law. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm trying to know the kind of what laws do you want to
implement
for your people?
Now, in making law, okay, you need to understand the issue, the problem of it. It's not making law. You have making law as part of your responsibility. Then you have the responsibility of representing your people adequately, and then you have the responsibility again of oversight functions. Then there are other functions that you need to do, which you can co-opt. Now, in making law, okay, you need to understand the issue, the problem of it. It's not making law. You have making law as part of your responsibility. Then you have the responsibility of representing your people adequately, and then you have the responsibility again of oversight functions. Then there are other functions that you need to do, which you can co-opt, as a matter of culture. Like now, that we talk about development program, which is not your basic thing. But again, if there's opportunity for you, you need to do it, because we know the level at which we have our society now. Okay, we need a lot of development. So whatever you can do to augment what's on ground will be good for your people. So in terms of legislation, there are a lot of things. Like I told you, I've worked in private sector for more than 26 years.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? and I've experienced a lot of things. I've experienced issue with labor. You know what I'm saying? I've compared the labor issue here in Nigeria to that of Senegal, to that of Cameroon, to that of South Africa. I know that our laws are not adequate enough to take care of laborers. You know what I'm saying? I know it is not. And that is why you see go to a place like Lagos today, if you see the way people are working, maybe with those Indians, even without Indians, even Nigerians, you know, you will pity them. And you know that we need things that are taken. I know, I can't just be rolling them out, but I know those gaps are there. And I know that I can borrow from those countries where, even for you, I know when I was in Africa in 2005, 2003 rather, you know, for you to sack a laborer, it will take you more than 2 or 3 years. It's not that you can wake up one day and 2 or 3 years does not mean that. What I'm saying is that 2 or 3 years mean that there must have been series of process that you're going to follow. But in Nigeria today, people can, and even if you have to sack immediately, then you need to provide it. In Senegal, you need to take care of that person for till. So see, I look at it that we in Nigeria, there are a lot of things that we are suffering, you know, and that we need to take care of them. I look at it again, the issue of you know, old age, you know, I mean, old people. I don't think we are taking good care of them, you know. There are a lot of things. Okay, it's like you want me to stop. I have more. See, these are things that after my trip around.
You have a whole lot of things that you want to roll out when you, if peradventure, you get to be the representative of your people. Of course, we've seen that your focal point now is when possibly the labor law.
It's on people.
Labor law, yes, on people.
It's not labor law. I just mentioned one.
I know, but it is part of the things you are so passionate.
I'm so passionate about because
yes.
I was once one of them.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And each time I work in my factory, you know, I feel pain because I work in a factory that you can resume in the morning and by 4 p.m. they will tell you the job is over and they walk you out with security. It pained me. You know what I'm saying? Yes, there's someone that has never had a clue. You don't even know. They might tell you that you have a performance problem. You know what I'm saying? But you know there should be a process. You know, and you know why I'm saying this is because I work in a company that is multinational. You know what I'm saying? We have companies all over the world, and I keep wondering why is the system here is different from the system, the same company. It takes you 3 years in South Africa to ask someone to go home because you need to go through certain processes which is made available by their law. But here, you know what I'm saying, it takes you 1 day to say this guy is not performing. You know what I'm saying? And I keep asking, if the guy is not performing, what have you taken him through? You know what I'm saying? What are the things that you've, how have you helped him? Which is what we've seen in other places. How have you helped him? You know, how you reported him to the Ministry of Labor? What have they done? They will come back and monitor the person. You know they are going that kind of thing happen. I mean, in Nigeria where people hardly say, you know what I'm saying? In Nigeria where people hardly say, you ask him to go home today, you know what's going to happen to his family. So I think this kind of law to me, you know what I'm saying, should have human faith, like I've seen done in other areas. You know what I'm saying? And I think there are things that we can do to that. That's one of them. There are other things, you know what I'm saying, that I've seen lots of them.
We don't want you to roll out every other thing as of yet. Yes, and we're going to take another break. When we come back, my guest would have gone, but I'm sure you've heard 1 or 2 things from him. We'll take a break. Be right back. Thank you.